90 days, 90 reasons. I thought it was 90 reasons, 90 days, but either way, let's restart the fire. Let's give President Obama 4 more years. Here are 90 reasons why. And this is reason number 25. Obama has supported and cultivated the rights of Americans with disabilities. This is written by Colin Meloy. He is a singer and songwriter for the Portland, Oregon band, the Decemberists. He is also author of 2 novels for children, Wildwood and Under Wildwood. He lives in Portland with his wife and son. I was born a big government liberal. My parents were both big government liberals, and we lived in a happy big government liberal house surrounded by fellow big government liberal friends and family and a few big government liberal pets. I've grown to be a big government liberal adult. I take extra big government in my coffee. I pour big government all over my pancakes in the morning. I bathe in lustrous, invigorating stuff applied to my hair for shape and control. And while I was raised this way to believe that a strong central government had a necessary role in ensuring the well-being of all its citizens, regardless of class, sex, or race distinctions, that we were to rely on the compassion of the private sector for the basic needs of a commonwealth, we'd be in sorry shape indeed. It didn't quite hit home to me until my son was diagnosed with autism. Making sure our son gets the therapies he needs, particularly the all-important early intervention therapies, has been like a second job for me and my wife and me. We've had to fight tooth and nail for insurance coverage of the sorts of no-brainer early intervention therapies that our doctors and every autism expert out there prescribed. Despite our best efforts to place our son in private and charter schools, we've time and again been shot down because they do not have the services and flexibility required to educate a kid on the autism spectrum. So like many parents of kids on the spectrum, we opted for public school. We spent our son's kindergarten year watching funding for the school district be systematically chipped away, making an already tenuous situation for teachers and students in the special ed system more and more strained. We're lucky, we're fairly independent and making a decent living. But for every struggle we've experienced, we've reflected on how more challenging it would be for low-income families. But regardless of your tax bracket, if you're parenting a child with special needs, you need help. It's all well and good to shout the praises of the social safety net and the condition-free charity of basic human compassion. Is really another thing to witness firsthand how absolutely necessary it is. One thing is certain. This upcoming presidential election, there are 2 very stark ideological differences between the 2 candidates when it comes to this very fundamental idea. One embraces the government's role in the well-being of all its citizens, and the other would like that involvement dramatically reduced. That difference in thinking shows up in a host of issues. But for this reason, let's look at it through the lens of disability rights, shall we? President Obama, in his first 4 years, has taken some pretty remarkable strides toward the protection and cultivations of the rights of Americans with disabilities. For one thing, he made clear his dedication to the neurodiversity movement, the idea that autistic adults and children should not try to be cured, but accepted in our society, by appointing Ari Neiman to the National Council of Disability. Ari is the first openly autistic person to serve on this council. The Autism Self-Advocacy Network, for which Ari is president and co-founder, has a great slogan: "Nothing about us without us." In the autism community, it's a bit radical idea. Too often, people with autism are omitted from leadership positions in the very organizations that purport to decide autistic Americans' well-being. Autism Speaks, the nation's largest autism awareness outfit, has refused to include autistic people in leadership roles. Kudos to President Obama for taking that idea to heart. The president's signature legislative achievement, the Affordable Care Act, has a ton of things in it that benefit the disabled community, children and adults, parents of and individuals with disabilities themselves. It is on track to end pre-existing condition discrimination by insurance companies in 2014, which today is a huge liability for the disabled seeking health coverage. Also, letting kids stay on their parents' insurance policies till 26 is a boon to disabled young adults, allowing them more time to get on their feet without the burden of insurance premiums barring them from needed therapies and medical treatment. The Romney Ryan campaign has made their position perfectly clear. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, will be one of the first things they do away with, should they be elected. Under President Obama, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division has been more active enforcing the Americans with Disabilities Act than under any previous administration. On the 20th anniversary of the ADA, the Americans with Disability Act, Obama signed an executive order instructing federal agencies to increase the number of qualified people with disabilities in the federal workforce. And there is a video of him sitting down with members of the disabled youth community to get a sense of his support and dedications of all Americans of all stripe and disability. And if you want to check it out, Google 90 Days, 90 Reasons, Reason 25, and you'll be able to get a link to the video where this has it, because it says click here on the phone, and obviously you can't click here because it's a video. With a second term, with a renewed mandate for change, I'd say it's pretty heartening to consider what could be done. For one thing, we still need to fully fund IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which the president has promised to do, but has not yet done. That's definitely one thing that the House will not pass. We need to appoint an autism czar, a position the president said he would create during the 2008 campaign, but it is as yet unfilled. These are things that the president has promised. They are on the table, and with a little pressure can come to be. One thing is for sure, they won't be happening in a Romney-Ryan administration. The alternative is clear as day. A Romney-Ryan administration bent on the stripping down and defunding of governmental and social services will make no mistake, play havoc on the already desiccated protections and services for Americans with disabilities. They will undo the important good that's been done by the Affordable Care Act and stop it from reaching its full potential, with many of its critical functions not coming into play for the next few years. They will dramatically defund Medicare or Medicaid and make it more difficult for folks with disabilities to receive needed care, particularly low-income families and individuals. In fact, they've publicly committed to block granting for Medicaid, cutting hundreds of billions of dollars in funding for healthcare and disability services over the coming decade. They've been very vocal about their desire to slash much-needed, quote, entitlement programs. Instead, they would preserve the Bush-era top-down tax cuts that have, over 10 years, not produced any net benefit. So you might be a big government liberal like me, or you may get a little testy about what the president has accomplished in his first term. Maybe you thought he was more of a big government liberal than he turned out to be. Don't for a second think that by not voting, withholding it, that you're doing anyone a favor. There are some very serious issues on the line that this election, rights and services for Americans with disabilities being one of many, and we cannot afford the sort of damage that would inevitably be wrought to the basic protections by a Romney-Ryan administration. It really is as simple as that. This is reason number 25.